Hello and welcome to the Washington Times Politically Unstable. I'm Kelly Sadler, the commentary editor at the Washington Times. And today I'm joined by Cara Leopard, right? I got that right, Cara?
Leopardo.
Left it off the O. I apologize. She's the founder with her husband of We the Studios. And I want to talk about that, but the jumping off point today is centered around Netflix. There is a boycott of Netflix. It was started by Elon Musk and a conservative influencer, lives of TikTok, which have found some disturbing content on Netflix aimed at children, pushing the transgender ideology. It all started with Dead End Paranormal Park, which is a cartoon that features a gay transgender teenage boy who runs away from his parents because they won't accept him to some sort of theme park. The content is disturbing, and it's geared toward 7-year-old children. And it has a flair of indoctrination, but then upon further look at the kids' content coming from Netflix, this is a theme in a lot of children's programming, which has caused a lot of people to cancel their Netflix subscriptions. The market cap of Netflix within the last 2 weeks has actually fallen by $15 billion. So it is having an impact on their bottom line. But Cara, you're a Hollywood producer. You've been in Hollywood, in the movie industry, in the producing industry for a long time now. And you and your husband found the need to start a brand new studio. So I'd like you to tell us a little bit about your background, as well as the company that you started and the reasons for it.
So my husband and I met and got married in Hollywood. He was making feature films, and at the time I was making commercials, print music videos, casting specifically. So I really understood talent, and that, you know, the name of the game back then was find the most interesting person that had this unique talent or this unique set of skills that most people don't have. And then so that was my history. Middle of that time in Hollywood, I was approached by a major network to do a reality show on myself. And what it did for me was it opened my eyes to the reality game. It got me on the production side even deeper as an executive producer and talent of that show. And I decided, you know what, this is really something I want to do. I'm kind of done with the commercials. I really couldn't do any more commercials. That, you know, my soul was not satisfied in that market. So I started producing for major networks, and they have something interesting called mandates. Every single network has a mandate. It's a set of guidelines of what they're looking for in terms of talent. So I'm very privileged to how this works and understand that when you have specific series on your platform or at your network, it's because it falls within that mandate. So when you're telling me everything about Netflix, my first thought is, I would love to see what their mandate says for children's programming. And I could probably tell you what it says. So my husband and I worked in Hollywood. We did really, really well. And you know, at one point we started realizing they don't want talented people anymore. It was DEI talent. It was somebody with the most challenging disability. It was somebody that had the worst sob story. It was like victim casting. And we really wanted no part of it. It was like, we're not finding the most talented people anymore. We're finding the biggest tragedy. And it just started to feel really, really bad. And the nail in the coffin for us was a children's network. This was just about 10 years ago, asked us to find pronoun kits. Now, let me read you what I recall the mandate, and I actually have it in email, and time will tell when I drop this email. But the mandate was, and the definition of this was, children between 11 and 15 that live at home with a pronoun that doesn't identify as a gender with the parents approving this. What does it sound like? It sounds like what's happening today. So Hollywood has been at this for a very long time. And my husband and I just looked at each other. We said, we don't need to do this. We had another business at the time. Let's just raise our kids, have a few more kids, and just get out of Hollywood, because it's just not what it was. The magic was gone. So now I find myself in front of the television as a mother versus behind the camera as a producer. And I start seeing the symbolism. I start seeing the messaging in the television. It just was like, you get to episode 3, that's kind of the magic number. 1 and 2 are fine. You get to episode 3, and there's the father. He's the big doofus. So there's the mom. She's kind of the airhead. And the child always knew best. And so we understood, like, this is what Hollywood's doing. So we removed major streaming platforms like Netflix and Disney from our home just about 9 or 10 years ago. during that process, we kind of start seeing what's going on, and our kids are watching old-fashioned DVDs. That was really the only way that could protect them, because we were kind of seeing it creeping in. As a producer, I could see it. Well, then it really started taking off just about 2 years ago. Our children are bigger. And I expressed to my husband, look, we can sit here and complain, but the world around us is on fire. Hollywood is literally burning down, and it really did, unfortunately. We need to do something, and we have this set of skills. We know how to run a network. We know how to cast. We know how to produce. You've made feature films. Let's just start our own streaming platform. And it was really just this very simple conversation. He's like, hey, put a business plan together. What would it look like? What would it take? I did. And within 2 weeks, we were casting throughout the country for our first set of series.
That's amazing. And as a mother myself, I was alarmed because my boys don't really watch much Netflix anymore. But even when you put the parental controls on, right, it gathers it kind of, the explicit material is the R-rated stuff is filtered out. But this is children's programming geared toward children that don't get caught in these filters, that they actually want the kids to have a certain perspective. And it is so very, very obvious. And, you know, I want you to explain a little bit more about the mandates, right? Were these like quotas? Were these guidelines, specifications on what needed to be in the program in order to get it on air?
Yeah, exactly. So they would have an overreaching, this is the theme of the network for the season. This is what we're going for. So we are going for, you know, energetic African-American talent. I'm making this up here, right? Energetic African-American talent. You know, they may be transgender and queer. And, you know, we want them to live, you know, in this economic class. This is the overall type of talent we want to see on our network this year. And so you would find or develop talent, or you would develop series around these ideas. So when you tell me Netflix has this programming that's completely inappropriate for children, I would love to see what their mandate says. I guarantee you the mandate says that there needs to be this type of content needs to be filtered into, or a percentage of. We need a percentage of transgender. We need a percentage of, we need to hit, a quota or a mandate. And instead of just saying, which is what we say at We the Studios, we want to educate and or inspire our viewers. We want our viewers, our customers, to feel really good when they watch their content. They're saying the complete opposite. They want to indoctrinate our children. I mean, that's essentially the definition. If you continue to put something in front of somebody and normalize this behavior, the left's favorite word, normalize, it normal to that child who's witnessing it. And this is what we're seeing with these clusters in our country with these kids today.
So how are these mandates derived? Is it, because it doesn't feel like they're derived from the marketplace, right? The transgender stuff, I mean, that's like a percentage of the population identifies as transgender. The left is always telling us it's just, there's just so few cases, don't focus on it. The right's obsessed with it. So it doesn't seem like these mandates are based on market factors. Like, this is what the kids are into. This is what our market research says. This is what the kids are into. These are their likes. This is what's trending. This is what we should be producing more of. It feels like it's coming down from executives with an ideological bent that they want to try to influence or to try to make a trend.
That is my biggest guess. I mean, there's certain doors you just never get behind at my level or many levels in these streaming platforms and networks. But my guess is it's definitely made in the boardroom, which is why I'm front and center at We the Studios, because I want people to know, look, this is me and my husband. We are making the casting choices and the series choices. It's not a boardroom with a whole bunch of men on some big building in New York City that you don't know what they look like and we don't know who they are. So my best guess, it's come from the boardroom. They send those down to all the major agencies in Hollywood, all the producers and directors that have representation. So this gets filtered out wide. This isn't just like one phone call, one person that's getting the mandate. This goes out to every agency. Anybody that has representation gets the mandates, and you try to find that need and you try to fill it for the network. And if they like it, they buy it, or they produce it for you or with you.
That's so interesting because another one of the series for Netflix is The Babysitter's Club. Now, I read these books when I was a kid. Series goes on. I think there's over 100 different books of varieties. There was never a transgender theme in any of the books that I read as a child. And as a parent, I view that as wholesome content. So it's just like, oh, The Babysitter's Club. I used to read these books. Here, watch this. And I think it was episode 3. There was the introduction of the transgender student or kid and working through that. And I'm like, that wasn't in the books. Like that is something that's a little crazy.
Yeah. The child was correct. And the doctors did not know any better. The child was minding the doctors. And it's literally a playbook. If you take everything that I'm saying about the mandates, episode 3, the child is correct. The parents and the adults, they're clueless and they don't know what's going on. This is the playbook, because how do you break the nuclear family? What do? You break apart the children from their parents. You cause that separation. You cause that rift. That's what we're seeing. You cannot have this is so deep what we're talking about. This is beyond entertainment and like, oh, good, Cara, you're making entertainment. No, we're in a culture. They say we're in a mental health crisis. We're in a culture crisis. We're coining that here at We the Studios. We are in a culture crisis. Our children are consuming demonic entertainment that the media is trying to normalize and say, this is fine. It's okay. What kind of people are they going to grow up to be? That's my question.
Yeah, no, and you saw this trend happening a decade ago. This transgender stuff feels like it just kind of caught the moment during Joe Biden's presidency. Even in 2020, it didn't seem to be that big of a deal or that big of a push, but we have seen more DEI content and companies specifically focused on DEI content in saying so. Disney, for example, and its Pixar trying to bring in gay couples as the nuclear family, and Lightyear, but we've also seen a lot of flops. Lightyear being one of the flops, so that they put way too much money into the picture and they never got it back at the box office. So tell us a little bit more about the content you produce, where our readers and viewers can see it, and are you having success within the marketplace?
We are exceeding all of the milestones that we had set for ourselves. You have your business plan on paper, and my husband and I famously said, nothing ever works on paper. Let's just see what happens. Well, we're exceeding all of the goals that we had set for ourselves. So we're super happy. The place to find us best is at wethestudios.com, named after those famous words. We the people, right? So we're We the Studios because we are making entertainment for everybody. And what that means is all of our entertainment, we do not have any profanity, no alcohol, no sexual innuendos, 2 genders, no pronouns, so that, we're good enough producers and directors. We don't need to expose children or anyone for that matter to debauchery, but still make really, really good entertainment. So we say it's safe for the whole family because we've made sure that our entire platform is free from those items. So whether you're watching Super Influencer that's behind me, it's probably a show that somebody's a little bit, 18 to 35 would enjoy. But if your child is in the room, they're not going to be exposed to anything disgusting. And so that's so important for me as a mom, that a child could walk into the room and nobody is like, oh, why did they hear that word? It's not my job to expose children to profanity. It's my job to entertain people. So wethestudios.com. We are on smart TV as well, Apple App Store, Google Play Store, Amazon Fire Stick, Roku, all the places that you would expect to find the big boys. But we're doing really, really well. We're going wide and we're going deep. We're in season 2 on multiple series currently. We're expanding our slate. We have 2 new series we haven't even announced yet that are in the can. We're kind of waiting on this Netflix thing to kind of see where it's going, because it's really helped us. Elon's my best friend right now. He doesn't know it, but he's probably my best friend because he put a light on what we've been saying, and it's proving our business model. It is proving that people are just done. They don't want it, but they don't know about the alternative. So I'm so thankful you're here, because people say 2 things when they find out about us. Oh my gosh, I love your content. I love what you're doing. But how come I never heard of you?
Yeah. Well, it's something that I feel like parents it's so hard to find shows to watch with my boys that interest them, that have good talent on them, interesting storylines that they can relate to, I can relate to, without the profanities, without the sexual innuendos, without it being dumb or stupid or politically correct, right? People just want to be entertained. They don't want to be preached a message to. And I've long believed that. And do you have a problem finding talent, getting on these streaming platforms? Have you experienced any roadblocks in producing this content?
Initially, in terms of producing the content, we have the most talented people in this country. Let me tell you, I have talent for days. So that's not the issue. The issue, initially, was finding talented people to come work with us at We the Studios because they were scared of Hollywood. I was told by my agent, hey, Cara, you're never going to work in Hollywood again if you do this. I said, good, I don't want to work in Hollywood. But a lot of the editors and other producers that we were bringing on, they were like, ooh, I can't put my name on it. I'm not sure. Well, guess what? It's changed. All of their names are on it. They're everywhere on my IMDb. We have producers every single day reaching out. We have directors every single day reaching out. We have editors. We have everybody reaching out to us continually saying, oh my gosh, I love what you're doing. One of our editors, we have a stable of editors now. He goes, I'm so proud of what we're doing. COVID changed everything. We used to go in to edit. Now we edit from home. And I was embarrassed. I didn't want my family to see what I was working on. And now I can be proud of what I'm doing. So it's funny. The challenges were working with a company like ours, which is funny because we do have traditional American values. We're an extremely conservative family. I voted for Donald Trump 3 times. I would do it again, probably, maybe not. I don't know. But, we don't talk about politics on our network. It's super important for me that you don't tune in and feel like this is a big political network and like you have to wear a MAGA hat. If we catch any conversation that's political or somebody's wearing a political shirt, I politely ask them to change it because it's about entertainment. I'm not here to tell you how to vote. I'm here to educate, inspire you. Maybe you had a rough day at work. Maybe, you have a challenging situation with your child or your family or a death in the family. The last thing you want me or any of my talent to do is preaching politics to you. You could go to every other network for that. You're going to come here and you're going to feel really good and you're going to keep watching it because you actually feel good. You're seeing people at their best. We show our talent at the best versions of themselves, which is a pretty remarkable thing to be able to do every single day.
I mean, it's amazing. And I do feel that the tide is turning. Whether or not these Hollywood, these companies like Netflix, they got to feel the pain from the boycotts, from the consumers, because it's a business at the end of the day. And you want the broadest audience possible. I mean, what was it? Michael Jordan just being like, I sell sneakers to everyone. I don't sell it just to half the country.
Yes, exactly.
So, I mean, I think it's, go ahead.
No, they have to be feeling the pain. But the thing is working in Hollywood, the egos are bigger than the budgets, right? So will they listen? That's TBD, right? Because we have a new administration now, and usually that kind of does trend a little bit with entertainment, a little bit. I don't really think that it has. I think they doubled down. So, for me, I do hope we can center the entertainment. I don't need it to go completely my way, but for our nation, I think it would be great if they could tone it down. I just don't think that they will. I really don't. I think they
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. And I urge our audience to please go to your website and to check out the content that you create. Because I think that, we as Americans, there's so many things that divide us, but there's also so many things that unite us, commonalities that we all have living together on this planet. You talk about life, death, children, our own struggles, that I think for our nation to heal, we need to focus on the things that unite us, not divide us. And I think the work that you're doing is extraordinary. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and supporting us at We the Studios.